let's talk about DAPs, or to be more specific, digital audio players, because lately there's been this sort of big trend towards dongle DACs, which are fine if you're into that sort of thing, but DAPs can do so much more, and we'll get into that throughout this video because today I'm looking at the HiBy R2 Gen 2. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. So the HiBy R2 Gen 2, this one is coming in at a price of $89. So we're talking about a DAP that's under $100, and I gotta admit, when I first saw the images of it, I thought it was gonna be just like a black and white LED screen, but no, it's actually color. It's got a little color display on it. But I've got to tell you about some of the features first, and that is inside we've got an ES9219C DAC chipset. That, by the way, is the same one found in the Shanling M0 Pro, although the M0 Pro has got dual DAC chips, so it's got two of those. But $89, we're in that budget DAP realm. What can you expect to get for that kind of money? I tell you what, I was very pleased, quite delighted to discover that they include a little carrying case in the box. I think every DAP manufacturer should do that, especially when you're making tempered glass backs and things like that. So yeah, thanks for the case. I appreciate that so much. So this little guy has just got so much functionality and is so versatile, but let's talk about the physical aspects of it first. It is lightweight. Look, it fits in the palm of my hand, literally. 70.6 grams, which is hardly anything. It's got a 2.45 inch display with a resolution of 480 by 360. And while that device doesn't fill up the entire front of the unit here, it's still plenty of screen real estate. On the top here is a power button, and what's really cool about this is it's surrounded by an LED, and that changes color depending on the sample rate of the song that you're currently playing. And I think that, I don't know why, but I'm just so delighted by that. I think it's fabulous. Also, when you're charging the device, you know, it'll glow red and let you know, well, it'll blink red and let you know it's flashing, and that is just so darn cool. Here is one of the two inbuilt microphones, because you can actually use this to make and take calls with, or just do voice recordings. It's got an inbuilt voice recorder. The other mic is on the side here, along with the playback buttons and the volume knob. And then on the bottom of the device, we've got micro SD card slot, USB Type-C port, and a single-ended 3.5mm headphone out and coaxial out. So that's about all there is to say about the outside. It is a polymer body, so it's not aluminium, but it's super rugged polymer, very strong. Of course, you've got a glass display on the front and a glass panel on the back. But let's talk about some of the UI and the functionality of this thing now. So I'll pop it open. That is the lock screen, and I've got it set up to show the album art of the current song that's playing, or the last played song. So open it up, and here we are at the home screen. And if you've used any kind of DAP before, you should be familiar pretty much with this interface. There's virtually zero learning curve. It's all very straightforward. So you want to see your music, pop in there, and you can look at all the files or look at them by album, by genre, by artist, etc. So pop it open, and you do get album art. I found that sometimes the album art does take a while to generate. Like, it's not always there when you're looking, but if you wait long enough, most of it will appear. But yeah, that's just a little drawback of having a sort of low powered battery saving processor inside. But you can see, you can see it is all pretty smooth inside, so it's it's a nice responsive snappy OS. But anyway, back to the home screen here. Look at this. What's that? Stream media. Damn! Built-in Tidal and Qobuz streaming. They only work over Wi-Fi, but guess what? Yeah, the R2 Gen 2 has got Wi-Fi as well. It's got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. It supports DLNA and AirPlay, and it's got HiBy Link. And where's my phone? Now I won't show you. What HiBy Link does is essentially you connect normally to your phone via Bluetooth, and then you can use your phone like a remote control, and you can actually see what you would normally see on the screen here. It's a super useful feature, so it means you can keep this in your pocket, and if you're just browsing on your phone or whatever and you want to change a song or do anything, it's all right there. Very handy. Okay, let's go back and we'll look at the system options. I won't go through all of them because there are a lot, but I just want to point out a few that I think are especially cool. So you can change the theme color. Look at that. You can really dial it in, the theme color, to exactly how you want, and that is really nice. It's just the little touches like that that make things special. You can adjust the font size. You can limit the USB current, so that is great for iPhones which don't play nicely with these things. Because yeah, by the way, you can use this as an external DAC with a PC or a laptop, tablet, etc. You can use it as like a dongle DAC with your smartphone. And we'll keep going down the list here. There's just so much stuff. I'm not going to go through all of that because that will just bore everybody. You can actually rotate the screen. You can do firmware updates OTA or over the air with Wi-Fi. And the voice recorder works really, really well. I was blown away by the quality of the mics on here. I'm going to give you an example of that here.
By 6000 BC, Greater Australia is no more. 1/7 of its land, about 2.5 million square kilometres, has been drowned by the sea. Tasmania, once a southern peninsula, is now an island whose Aborigines have lost all contact with those on the mainland.
So as you just heard, the voice quality, the recording quality is really outstanding. Now, I want to go into the music because if we are in here and there's another little settings icon there, there's a whole nother menu, a whole nother list of menu settings. There's just loads of them, and I'm at the bottom of the list now, so let's go back. You've got MSEB, which is HiBy's own sound tweaking software. You can change all kinds of stuff, sibilance, your impulse response, female overtones, vocals, note thickness, bass texture, all those things, so you can really tweak the sound, get some good customization going there. It's also got an EQ, and with the EQ you can choose a custom one like so. You can just draw it in like that, really nicely done, or you can use one of the preset EQ modes. So really lots of customization there. I prefer to leave the EQ off. I'll just reset it just in case, but it's going to make me turn it on first. Update your music database, play mode, output selection, DSD, gain compensation. I like this, resume from last track or none or position. I tend to leave it on position. Maximal digital volume output and gapless playback. Hell yeah, why hasn't that enabled? I don't have many gapless albums, but you definitely want to have gapless playback enabled. Crossfade gain, replay gain, digital filters, all the stuff. I'm not even going to get into it because I want to talk about how this little guy actually sounds now. And I'll just say it sounds great. It really does. I wasn't expecting too much, to be honest, for an $89 DAP. When I learned that it does have a color display, it's got all these features and all this functionality. And then on top of that, when I press play and listen to my first song, it actually sounds really good as well. If you've got lyrics, you just tap the screen and the lyrics will pop up there. There is one thing that I don't like about this OS, and I could be wrong, but I can't find any way or any shortcuts back to the home screen. So if I, for example, I'm here on the now playing screen, I want to go back to the home screen, I have to swipe right, swipe right, swipe right. That's not a huge issue. I'm nitpicking, but I would like just a simpler way to get back to the what's playing screen. However, from here, I just slip right to left, and I'm back on the what's playing screen again. Hey, what's cracking? It's Future Krabos here. I just came back in time because I forgot to mention one important thing about the R2 II, and that is from any screen within the player here, if you just swipe down from the top, you get this kind of shortcut menu, and from there you get one touch buttons to enable and disable your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, HiBy link, etc. You get volume control, and on top of that you get playback controls as well. You just swipe back up and it'll take you back to where you were before. Another nice little feature similar to the HiDis AP80 Pro X, but yeah, it's good to see that here as well. So back to the sound, and by the way, the power output is 90 milliwatts. That's not huge. That is the same as the single-ended output on the Shanling M0 Pro, and I'll do a comparison with these two in a minute. But yeah, 90 milliwatts, so good for IEMs, and also surprisingly large number of headphones have no problem with this player either. For example, my Beyerdynamic DT990 Pros with 250 ohm impedance, that was not an issue whatsoever. They sound great on this one. However, my Sennheiser HD650s were pushing the limits of this, so I wouldn't really recommend it for those, but anything under sort of 300 ohms, I think this can do reasonably well, but all IEMs exceptionally well. It does a fantastic job and sounds great. Keep in mind you've got all those customization options with MSEB and EQ, so you can really tweak the sound just the way you like it, but in its stock standard form with those features turned off, the R2 Gen 2's sound signature is slightly on the warmer side of neutral, with an emphasis on vocals and a softened treble. To my ears, it sounds as though the lower and the upper mids have just been brought up a touch, which in turn takes a little bit of the edge off the treble. Having said that, I don't hear anything taken away or added to the bass. It sounds kind of neutral, but very full-bodied, nice and punchy and firm. There's a nice amount of texture in the bass, and again, if you want to add more or take some out, just jump into MSEB or throw on an EQ and you're good to go. But regardless, the bass is fantastic. Even with my Empire Ears Bravado here, they are a bass heavy IEM, loads of bass, really nice and textured. I'm happy to say that the bass was not overly boosted with the R2 II. It's still full of texture. It sounds great. It's nice and clean. It does bleed into the mids a bit, but that's just the IEMs. That's not the player. Wait, that's a cable. Not the IEMs, just the player itself. The IEMs bleed into the mids, but the player does not. I just want to make that clear. Vocal lovers will love, pardon the pun, but vocal lovers will love the R2 II because the mids are lush, but they're articulate and they work particularly well with brighter or leaner IEMs because there's a little bit of richness in there, but vocals are nice and rich and quite forward in the mix. Earlier I might have mentioned that the treble on the R2 II is slightly softened. Nonetheless, the sound remains open, detailed and airy. While the soundstage may not be the widest, I found the imaging to be excellent for a budget-friendly DAP. Additionally, the resolution is really impressive, and overall, the audio quality of the R2 II really exceeds my expectations vastly. So now, a quick comparison with the Shanling M0 Pro. Remember, same DAC chip, except this has got dual DAC chips in it. But to be honest, I'm not sure if it utilizes both of them all the time or only when you're using balanced out. And keep in mind, to use balanced out on this DAP, you have to buy an adapter, which is sold separately. So that takes the price, including the DAP plus the adapter, it takes the price up to like $50 more than the R2 II here. So obviously with the M2, its main advantage is its minuscule size. It's so easy to carry around. However, that can also be a con as well because it means that you've got much less screen real estate. It does have a nice colorful and bright display, but it's a little bit more niggly to navigate the UI. However, one thing I do like about this, I might have mentioned it, is that from any screen, if you hold the finger down on the screen for a couple of seconds, it returns you to the home screen. and I wish the HiBy OS had something similar to that. But in terms of sound quality, honestly, when you are listening to this in single-ended mode, I would have a hard time telling the difference between these in a blind test. I think they sound very, very similar. Maybe the M0 Pro is just a little more precise in the treble and has slightly more width in the sound stage. But like I said, blind test, I might not be able to tell them apart, they're that close. However, in balance mode, the M0 Pro does pull slightly ahead. It gets the dynamics increase a bit more, and the spacing within the stage is just a little bit better, but honestly, there's very little in it. On top of that, the M0 Pro does not have Wi-Fi. It doesn't stream Tidal or Qobuz. So really, for considerably less money, the R2 II just looks incredibly good. The M0 Pro is an incredible device, especially, as I mentioned, if you want something that's really, really small. But otherwise, I think the R2 Gen 2 here overall is just better value. It's just incredible. True, it doesn't have a balanced output, but if you don't need that, if you don't use that, you certainly won't miss it either. And with that said, I think I'm going to wrap up there, guys. So the HiBy R2 Gen 2, best app, under $100 without a shadow of a doubt. Highly recommended. So if you are shopping for something and you're on a budget, grab one of these, you won't regret it. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, Parfam Audiophile style. If you're new here, or if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, hit that subscribe button, give it a like, leave a comment down below, and until next time, I'll see you later.